Maya thought she could control her nightmares. She was wrong. She kept a detailed dream journal filled with notes, messy sketches, and fragments of bizarre dreams she knew she'd forget the second she opened her eyes. Her therapist called it cognitive grounding, a way to anchor herself in reality. Maya just called it control. But lately, her dreams had been changing. They were becoming too real, too clear. She could feel the texture of the air on her skin, the pull of gravity on her limbs, and in every single dream, there was a mirror. It didn't matter if she was in a forest or a futuristic city. A mirror would always appear. The problem was her reflection. It never moved quite right. It would blink just a fraction of a second too late. Its smile would linger just a moment too long, stretching into something unsettling. And sometimes, it whispered things, thoughts she hadn't even said aloud yet. Deep-seated fears, secret desires. The reflection knew her better than she knew herself. One night, fueled by a mix of fear and frustration, Maya decided to confront it. She forced herself into a lucid state, found the mirror in the dreamscape, and stood before it. Taking a deep breath, she asked, "Who are you?" Her reflection's smile widened, splitting its face with an unnerving glee. The glass in front of her began to crack, spider webbing from the center. And from the shattered image, a voice that was hers, but not hers, whispered back, "I'm the one who wakes up when you fall asleep." A scream tore from Maya's throat, a raw, primal sound that jolted her awake. Or so she thought. She sat bolt upright in bed, heart hammering against her ribs. But something was wrong. The light from her window was the wrong color, a sickly, pale yellow. The air smelled stale, like dust and decay. She glanced at the digital clock on her nightstand, and her blood ran cold. The numbers were spinning backward, counting down to nothing. Panicked, she grabbed her phone, but the screen was dead, just a black, polished surface. And in that dark reflection, she saw her own terrified face. She blinked, trying to clear her vision, and a full second later, her reflection blinked back. That's when the horrifying truth crashed down on her. She never actually woke up. The next morning, Maya's roommate found her dream journal lying open on her desk. A new, final entry was scrolled across the page, the letters all written in reverse, as if penned by a hand seeing the world through a mirror. It read, "Don't look in the mirror when you dream. It might not be your turn to wake up. So, let me ask you, have you ever seen your reflection move just a little bit wrong in a dream? That split-second delay? That smile that doesn't feel like your own? Think about it. Because maybe, just maybe, you're not the only one who's been dreaming. And maybe someone has been watching you from the other side, just waiting for their chance to wake up." Let me know your own strange dream experiences in the comments below. I'll be reading them all.
You've heard of sleep paralysis, right? It's that terrifying moment when your mind wakes up, but your body is still fast asleep, completely frozen. They say it's just your brain playing tricks on you. But what if it's not just your brain? What if something else wakes up with you? Something that's been waiting and listening from right beneath your pillow. This is the story of Daniel, and it all began when he moved into that old apartment on Hemlock Street. The rent was a steal, the location was perfect, and the view of the city lights was almost enough to make him forget about the peeling wallpaper and that faint, musty smell of damp wood that never seemed to go away. The first night, it happened. He jolted awake, his clock glowing 3:17 a.m. His eyes were wide open, darting around the dark room, but he couldn't move a muscle. Familiar, crushing weight pressed down on his chest. Sleep paralysis, he told himself, trying to stay calm. He'd read about it online, seen the articles. It was scary, but it was normal. But then, he heard it. Hush. A soft, rhythmic breathing, impossibly close. It was coming from right under his ear, from his pillow. He tried to rationalize it. Had to be the old building, the hiss of air through the ancient vents, maybe even the pipes groaning. But the sound, it was alive. It matched his own panic, speeding up when his heart raced, slowing down when he desperately tried to calm himself. It was mirroring him, breathing in perfect sync with his fear. For the next few nights, it came back. Always at 3:17 a.m. on the dot. Always that same soft breathing from beneath his pillow. And then it started whispering. It's just one word, so faint he almost missed it. A sibilant hiss in the dark. Stay. Daniel was terrified. He threw out the pillow, bought a brand new one, hoping that would be the end of it. That night, the sound didn't come from the pillow. It came from inside his head. The breathing, the whisper. It was now echoing in his own mind, inescapable. He went to a doctor, who told him it was just stress from the move. He saw a therapist, who suggested it was some kind of unresolved trauma bubbling to the surface. He was starting to think he was losing his mind. So, he decided to get proof. He set up a sleep recorder on his phone, placing it on the nightstand, and hoped for the best. The next morning, his hands trembled as he played back the recording. He fast-forwarded through hours of silence, his own quiet breathing, the distant city hum. And then he heard it. Just before the 3:17 a.m. mark, the microphone picked up a faint, chilling whisper. It was his own voice, recorded in perfect, crystal-clear sync with the sound in his head, saying, "Don't wake me up this time." He stared at his phone in horror. Cold dread washed over him as he looked at his bed. The old pillow, the one he had thrown in the dumpster, was back, sitting right where he'd left it. So, here's a thought for you. If you ever wake up frozen in your bed, unable to move, and you hear something breathing beside you, don't try to listen closer. It might just be trying to listen to you. What do you think Daniel really heard that night? Was it just a trick of his mind? A simple case of sleep paralysis? Or was it something else? Something that learned how to dream through him? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like and subscribe for more tales from the shadows. Thanks for watching. Sleep paralysis doesn't always happen when you're tucked safely in bed. Sometimes it catches you when you're wide awake. Imagine this. You're staring up at the endless sea of stars, only to get the chilling feeling that the stars are staring right back at you. This is the story of Eli. Eli was a young astrophysics interna, quiet, methodical guy, completely obsessed with the night sky. He practically lived at the old university observatory, often staying late into the night, logging data long after everyone else had packed up and gone home. He loved the solitude, the hum of the old equipment, and the silent dance of the cosmos above. One particular night, his peaceful routine was shattered. It was 2:44 a.m., an hour when the world outside is dead silent. Suddenly, the massive telescope he was controlling froze right in the middle of an adjustment. Eli tapped the controls, confused. Nothing. Then, he looked at his monitor. The thousands of stars speckling the screen began to flicker out, one by one, like candles being snuffed in a dark room. Soon, the entire screen was black, except for a single, solitary point of light, perfectly centered in the frame. And it was moving. At first, Eli's logical mind took over. It must be a satellite, he thought, or maybe a bit of space junk, but then, it blinked. I don't mean it flashed like a typical celestial body. No, it blinked, slowly and deliberately, like an eyelid, opening and closing. A cold dread began to creep up his spine. He leaned closer to the monitor, his breath fogging the glass. The usual static hum from the speakers warped, deepening into a sound that was unnervingly familiar, the slow, rhythmic sound of deep breathing. That's when the paralysis hit him. He tried to pull back, to shout, to do anything, but he couldn't move a muscle, couldn't even blink. His body was completely rigid, trapped in that terrifying space between being awake and being asleep. His eyes were locked on the screen, forced to watch what happened next. On the feed, that single point of light began to grow. It expanded, getting larger and larger, until it filled the entire monitor. And in that moment, Eli realized the horrifying truth. It wasn't a star. It wasn't a planet. It was an eye. A colossal, ancient eye staring at him from the depths of space. And in its massive dark pupil, he could see his own reflection, a tiny, terrified figure sitting motionless at the desk in the observatory. Then the eye closed, and everything went black. The next thing Eli knew, sunlight was streaming through the observatory window. He woke up slumped over his desk, his neck stiff and sore. A crumpled printout lay beside his hand. He smoothed it out, his heart pounding. The telescope's official log showed no entries after 2:44 a.m. The system had simply stopped recording. But scrawled across the blank paper in a jagged, aggressive black marker were 3 words that made his blood run cold. "We saw you." Eli never went back to the observatory, quit his internship, changed his major, and tried to forget that night ever happened. But he can't. Sometimes when he closes his eyes to sleep, he still sees it. That single blinking light hovering in the darkness behind his eyelids. And every night it feels like it's getting just a little bit closer. So what do you think? Did Eli simply fall asleep at his desk and have a terrifyingly vivid nightmare? Or, in the deep, silent darkness of space, did something else wake up first? Let me know what you believe happened in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more strange stories.